ready to learn to get rid of stress in your life? To learn how to deal with the emotional turmoil that causes strokes, heart attacks, bad health, and even weight gain? Life-changing habits for work, family, and everyone you deal with start here with Andrew Wittman. It's time to get warrior tough. Here's Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman.
What's up, what's up, what's up? It is time to get warrior tough, the most monumental hour in media anywhere. We're your leadership and mental toughness coaches, Andrew Wittman and the Dutch Coleman.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm halfway through the week. A bunch of stuff going on. What do they call this? Hump day? I'm feeling good, man. Good to hear your voice.
Oh, buddy, it's so good to see you. See, what the folks don't know is that you can't see me because we saved the bandwidth. I can only see you, and you are a good-looking man, Dutch Coleman.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm feeling good, man. I do have that still shot of you from when you were in Panama, when you had the
Panama picture.
When you when you had the sunrise right over your left shoulder.
Yeah.
And your hair was like perfect and your skin was glistening. I have that still photo right here in front of me, so I have that standard to live up to.
Yeah, that's funny. That was 1989. All right, so if you want to get into the conversation, use the hashtag GetWarriorTough on the Twitter. You can find Dutch at the Dutch Coleman. I'm at Warrior Tough PhD, and of course the website getwarriortough.com. All right, so Dutch, I always say that February is my favorite month in South Carolina because it's shorts and T-shirt weather, but I always know March is going to get us. There's always some kind of ice storm, winter, right? So we get spring hit on Monday, and we're like, whoo, we made it. No, not so fast as what's Lee Corso would say.
Lee Corso.
Not so fast. So Tuesday, it's like 83 degrees out. My wife and I go out for a walk. I'm like, I got to wear a T-shirt. I'm wearing a tank top. I'm going to get some sun. This is awesome. By 5:30 Tuesday night, all hail breaks loose. I mean, it was like marble-sized golf balls. Golf ball-sized, marble-sized hail, golf ball-sized hail, baseball-sized hail. My car looks like the surface of the moon for the second year in a row, almost to the day, Dutch.
Goodness gracious. Meanwhile, back on the ranch up here, we had record highs. I think it was 55 degrees today was a high. Now tomorrow we're going back down to freezing. We're going back down to 16. But it was a great day today, man. I took my jacket off, and when I went to
sounds
scoop up
pretty
the kids,
good.
I'm telling you, I had the jacket off and the sun's out, and I'm like, man, this 55 feels great.
Heat wave.
But yeah, we're going back down to 16 tomorrow.
That's all right, 16. Yeah, I'm like, I would trade that because now the car has to go back to the shop. But I did tell my wife, I said, here's, because, if you guys know me, I always say when bad news happens, get happy, right? So I'm like, so every year I just paid the $500 deductible and I get brand new car. Like it came off, like the bodywork. I'll never have any dings in this car ever. So again, for the second year, I'm getting another skin on the thing. It's just, it's just a pain because, when you and I go to Tallahassee, last year we had to rent a car because remember the Challenger was in the shop and you and I rented a car and drove down. This year, I think you're flying to Tallahassee, but I still may have to rent a car and meet you down there because the car will be in the shop. So I guess I'll never get that car driven down to Tallahassee. Or it just seems like every year we go down to, because we do the thing for the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, their executive academy down there. It's that time of year, and it just seems like it always happens the same time.
But I tell you what, it's all about that attitude. It's not the doom and gloom, but hey, how does this help me? How does this make me look even better than it did before?
Yeah.
And you're getting that new skin, man.
I'm getting a new car, man. It's another hood. You're going to get another trunk. Some quarter panels. It's a brand new car. And
another great story to tell.
Another great. I put it on Snapchat, right? I went out to the car and I'm sitting in there and I'm just like, come on, baby, you can hold it. We're in the and so. I'm snapping out the windshield. Plus, I put the car in reverse so you could see the video camera, on the backup camera, and it's really a cool little thing if you look on Snap. But anyway, it's all good. All right, so the life and times. So this week, what I wanted to kind of talk about, you and I have been kind of pitching this back and forth, but this is an article out of Time magazine. It is from 2014 from Eric Barker, but it's science that, and you and I have talked about this, and we talk about it on the stump all the time, on the stump, I feel like I'm running for politics, on the podium when we go into corporations, about personalities. People always want to talk about personalities, and This is saying there's one scientifically one most valuable personality trait that doesn't really have any downside. And before we get really into it, I do want to say, and this is what I say all the time, and I used to say that it was anecdotal, that this was just my truth and my opinion. However, I do now have science to back up what I'm about to say. There is research that personality is just packaging. It is not who you are.
Right. Yeah, I think that's proven. I think when you first, hear that, it will cause people to pause, because they, you know what? No, that's who I am. No,
I'm just wired that way. And people say that it's really just to be an excuse for being a jerk and not changing. Well, that's just how I'm wired. Or people use it to excuse their kids. Well, that's how they're wired.
Right, and it's only when you begin to really deeply think about it that you understand what you're saying about it being packaging. But on the surface, man, a lot of times we're those surface beings where we accept that surface stuff because it helps us in that moment, and it gets a lot of things that we do excused. So we do enjoy that surface explanation. But when you do sit down and you think about it and you kind of ponder it in a deeper sense, that's when you realize that you're absolutely right, that it is just packaging.
Yeah, and personality does change. You can change your personality. That's not just how you are. Right, and so there was a study. It was a study out of Scotland that just came out in February of this year, 2017. That personality can and does change, and it changes dramatically. And they followed people from the time they were age 14. This started way back in like World War II, all the way through till they're 77 years old, till this past year. It's the longest ever study into human personality. And completely different, Dutch. People were completely different than they were when they were tested at 14 than they were at 77.
A lot of us are completely different the next month. And then we go back to what we were next month. It's all about that audience. It's all about that goal in that moment. And people don't want to admit that. But again, as you begin to ponder deeply and you begin to look at situations and you evaluate your own behavior in certain situations, you'll see that you have changed, that the behavior, the personality, so to speak, has shifted to where you need it to be, where you've aimed it. And you do have that power and that control to do that, and you have done it.
Right, and I have done it, right. We call it driving to the center. But so this is out of research from the University of Edinburgh, right, and it went over a course of 63 years. And what they said is they looked at 6 key character traits, and I like that they used character traits instead of just a personality trait, but these things were all taken into consideration. Self-confidence, perseverance, stability of moods, conscientiousness, originality, and the desire to excel. No significant stability in any of the 6 characteristics. Just like you said, Dutch, one day you could be self-confident, and the next day you ain't. You could be perseverant for 3 weeks. This is just like our weight loss clients, right? They're on that diet, no exercise, train for 3 weeks. They persevere until the 3 weeks are up.
You can be as confident as you've ever been talking about physics, your field of study, and then when that young lady that you really adore comes around, man, you're a complete mess. You don't know how you can't put this a complete sentence together. Or if it's a different subject matter, or your goal changes, your environment changes, those different things. So, man,
the people you surround yourself with change. All of those things change, right? So, and as a result of this, there are changes in your personality over time. It could be gradual, and it can be intentional if you do what Dutch and I talk about. We talk about being intentional. And then, Dutch, I want you to just talk about this I know we're coming up on a break in a little bit, but something that we would tell students when we're mentoring students, especially high school students about to go to college, they might not be sure exactly what their ultimate target is or what their destination is or what they want to do. But you always encourage them, change the venue, get to college, and get surrounded by those folks, because because you're going to change everything, because you're going to change your environment, you're going to change your surrounding, you're going to change the new stream of information, you're going to change the people's intellectual abilities around you. And this also is exactly what we're talking about. You're intentionally moving your personality to where it needs to be.
Now, with respect to people who think the other way, there is another train of thought. We're not saying this is the only way, because there's some people who say don't even start college until you figure out that that's for you, that's what you want to do, because it can be a tremendous waste of resources.
Sure.
Yada, yada, yada. But there's something to that you kind of immersing yourself in that environment with the different people, the different thought processes, the different opportunities, the different things you're going to be exposed to, and allowing yourself to see what attracts you, what sticks to you, what you enjoy, things you may never have seen that your mind has never had a chance to be exposed to or take hold of. So there's also that train of thought. So that's the one I always encourage people to do, because the environment from which I came, no matter what, it was better to go.
It was better to go to somewhere. It was better to go to college. Right.
Exactly, to get some of that stuff, because where I came from, there was nothing good there. And the one thing you always wanted to encourage people to do was to leave. I don't care where you will be in a better place.
Okay.
Yeah, don't even matter where.
What was that
we got about a minute left.
What was that theme song that you used to do on Out of Bounds? We started from the bottom.
Now we're here. Started from the bottom. Now we're here. Yeah.
So, right. That's the play. You need to leave from there. Whatever. But so this is really what we're going to talk about tonight. I'll let you know as soon as we get back from break, right? Because we got a couple seconds left for break, so I just don't want to throw it out there before the break, because you're training me up in the arts of radio broadcasting. Because I used to just blurt it out, being the rookie that I am. You're like, dude, you got to tease them out, man. So is that a sufficient tease? Well, after the break, you'll find out exactly what the most valuable personality trait is according to the science when we get back. Is that good?
Perfect.
All right, we'll be right back. You're listening to the Get Warrior Tough radio show with Dutch and Andrew.